Okay, here is a short review of Avowed. This is such a great game. I love playing this game.
Like many others, I had expectations going into this one, and for good reason. Avowed is developed by Obsidian Entertainment, and if you're not familiar with their work, well, let me break it down. This is one of the most legendary gaming studios in modern gaming. They've released successes like The Outer Worlds, Pentiment, South Park Stick of Truth, the Pillars of Eternity franchise, Grounded, and just mostly very well-received games. But on top of all of that, they made one of the best games ever made in my opinion, and they made it in only 18 months. And many of you already guessed it, it's Fallout New Vegas. So yeah, I had expectations. When Outer Worlds came out, it was obvious that Obsidian wanted to make their own Fallout kind of game, and in many ways, it was good, but it still lacked the depth and the RPG mechanics that New Vegas delivered nearly a decade before it. So I think it was in 2020 when they announced Avowed, and I want you to think about what this short snippet of the announcement trailer reminds you of.
And you must face the monsters our sins have borne.
So as soon as I saw this, I thought to myself, wow, Obsidian is making their own Skyrim, and I know I'm not alone. You know, they made the best Fallout game ever made, and it's just my opinion. But also maybe they could just make the best Elder Scrolls type game ever made, who knows? If not the best, at least a great game, right? So yeah, I had expectations. And Avowed took a gigantic monster kaiju Johnny ass blasting Doofenshmirtz Perry the fucking platypus shite on my expectations because damn, this game is not that great. What happened to the art style? What happened to those reactive RPG mechanics? This game feels like half the team didn't want to make it. This game is like an unfinished product that they decided to barely polish at the last minute. Okay, I feel like I'm a bit too harsh because it's not a bad game. Like, let me be clear, Avowed was fun, but just not worth my time. I'll be honest, man, I didn't finish it, and I am nowhere near finishing this. I don't want to finish it. I expected a game with crazy deep RPG mechanics like New Vegas, or at least a world where, I don't know, what you do has consequences, like killing a crucial NPC for example. But in Avowed, you don't get to kill any non-hostile NPCs whatsoever. That's it. Avowed is a semi-open world first-person action RPG with an emphasis on the action. It's another game pretending to be an RPG with a beautiful and colorful world that for some reason is backed by some dark fantasy music. Yeah, it makes no sense. It's obvious the game had a tough development period and poor direction. For example, the performance is trash on my mid-tier PC even with upscaling updated drivers and lowered graphics. Dialogue options give you the illusion that your decision matters, but the most that it did for me during my 10 to 15 hours playtime was trigger other trash dialogue or turn some NPCs into enemies. That's it. There is no crime system or even a lockpicking system. It has forgettable characters, uninspired writing, dead NPCs that just stand there, they don't even move. You can't even talk to your own companions unless you're at camp. The UI is harsh on the eyes at times, but it's pretty easy to navigate. And on top of that, the game holds your hand in almost everything except combat. If there is loot above you and you don't know how to get to it, don't worry. Your companion will tell you exactly how to get to it. All of the loot is highlighted, and almost all loot stashes, even a fucking backpack, will make a Fortnite treasure chest sound. Yeah, this game is not made for RPG fans. It's made for everybody, and that's where it fails in my opinion. The game didn't risk anything, it played everything too safely and tried to please everyone, which also impresses nobody. Honestly, after playing Avowed, I started to believe that career mode in any EA Sports game is a great RPG experience. You got a simple leveling system, where you gain a single attribute point that can barely make a dent in your character's progression. You got a bunch of loot to pick up to either sell or use to upgrade weapons and armor at your camp. Good loot rarely drops and it feels like I'm picking up the same few weapons over and over again. You got companion attribute points that can enhance your combat experience, and an economy that makes it a bit too easy in my opinion. I was straight up loaded after my first quest and I was able to buy all the potions and food necessary. Avowed has a pretty good character creator, which I spent a decent amount of time in, but why do all the characters look like that, man? I don't know. The art style is a little bit weird and just makes it very hard to like every character. It's like the only person that looks a bit normal is Kai. Everyone else, including my own character, looks a bit weird. When I play an RPG, I like to start as a nobody, and I don't really feel like I got to do that in Avowed. So in Avowed, you play as an envoy sent from the Adirian Empire to look into this plague that's kind of messing up the world around you, and you find yourself to have a deep connection to the land. You know, the story wasn't for me, and I couldn't get myself to give a crap, and after some time I found myself wanting to skip all the dialogue. This game takes place in Aora, which is in the Pillars of Eternity universe, so if you're a fan of those games, you might appreciate some of the lore dumping here. So the only couple of things I kinda enjoyed about this game were its exploration and combat. The combat is kind of like a mix of Path of Exile, where you're constantly facing the same bits of enemies over and over again with hotkeys to smash, and a little bit of Skyrim, since you can dual wield a single-handed weapon or switch up your combat style, whenever you want basically. For example, you can pair a wand with a sword or a gun with a shield, which is pretty cool in my opinion. I also enjoyed the platforming. The way the world is kind of designed is to push you to explore every corner, and I actually really enjoyed that. It's not a bad game, right? And there were times that I wanted to keep playing, but damn, it's so hard since I just got off a true beefy RPG like Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 that I thought was a 10 out of 10. It was really hard not to compare Avowed to Skyrim. The only thing Avowed did better than Skyrim in my opinion was that, sometimes an enemy would get staggered after you hit him with a heavy hit, maybe like a great axe or whatever. That's it. Nothing else. Screw Skyrim. What about a game that the same studio made? New Vegas came out in 2010. Yeah. Avowed has boring and forgettable music that doesn't really fit the atmosphere, even more than its characters. The game lacks the simple RPG mechanics that a AAA game in 2025 is expected to shit out as the foundation of a game in the genre. Fun, but extremely repetitive combat, decisions that don't really matter as much as they advertised. It has a world that looks good and feels good when the game is performing well. Fun platforming, combat, and exploration, which is a good mix. Avowed felt like an early prototype of an RPG, to be honest with you. That's the best way I could put it. And as a former Xbox fanboy, I'm very disappointed. This game almost made me want to stop kissing the lower half of my life-size Phil Spencer cutout. Avowed is a game that works. I mean, it's a game that you can play, and it runs. It's also one of the games of all time. It's just a very, very mid game. That's it. It's nothing but fine. It's okay. It's so mid. But one that gave me the slightest bit of joy when I was turning it off. 6 out of 10. It's not for me. If you have zero expectations or have no RPG experience, or maybe you're just looking for some mindless combat and looting, you might enjoy it. And for anyone looking for a game to replace Skyrim until The Elder Scrolls 6 comes out one day, look into Tainted Grail: The Fall of Avalon on Steam. It's a great game that'll have its 1.0 release this year, and it's almost exactly like a darker Skyrim. So if you really enjoyed Avowed, if you like this video, please like, share, subscribe, and let me know what game I should waste my time playing, because this game proved to me that I don't really value my time or life. Thanks for watching.